Booted away. No, it's blocked. Back inside, run back for the 10. Got it, recovered for the touchdown.
And he catches the football. Touchdown. 30-yard touchdown reception.
Line are going for it. Dunn under center. Throws right down the middle and caught. No signal yet. Cut!
Keeling keeps it up the middle. Into the open field. Keeling is in. Touchdown, Cinco Ranch.
Dropping back again. Screen set up. Across the 30, 25. Looks like he's got nowhere to go. This is going to be into the end zone. Touchdown, Keeling.
Side shotgun formation. Dunn has the ball. Looks over to the far side. In the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars!
First up, out of 19-6A, we discuss the Cinco Ranch Cougars. And Trevor, you know, the big reason why you're here, not only because you're a great employee, is because you talked more about 19-6A than any of us here. You lived out in Katy. You covered a lot of 19-6A, both at Legacy and Rhodes, more than Gavin and I combined. So let's start with Cinco Ranch. What did you see from the Cinco Ranch Cougars last season?
Well, Chase, they need some improvement. It was just a tough year for them. They went 0-10, but Coach Dudley was in his first year, and they just need some improvement. I think their upperclassmen coming back, they got to see that improvement, got to see what they need to improve on, the defensive side and the offensive side, and they're going to be a team that's much improved. Look for them to get 3 or 4 wins. I think they can make that a reality this upcoming season.
Gavin, what do you think?
I think they need to start by coaching up those younger guys. Trevor said they have some upperclassmen coming back that are going to lead the program, and then they need to coach up those younger guys from like the JV ranks that are going to come up and play for them next year. And I think once you coach up those younger guys, it'll start to make a trend in the culture for Cinco Ranch that'll lay out the foundation for the years to come.
And Trevor, you had a chance to catch up with Chris Dudley. What did you see from Coach Dudley?
Well, he's excited for the season. It's a bit of a shock with having all these Zoom meetings and everything going on with the pandemic, but with Governor Abbott's recent news, that looks like football could be coming back in the fall, more and more likely that it will, and I think Coach Dudley's ready for it. Wants to get Cinco back to what they were most of this decade, which is always that second-place team to Katy. They even made a state semifinal run in 2016, and I think Coach Dudley wants to get them back there, and I think he's on the right track.
Let's take a look at Trevor's conversation with Cinco Ranch head coach Chris Dudley.
Okay, we're here with head coach of the Cinco Ranch Cougars, Chris Dudley. And Coach, how have things been different? Obviously, the world's been different, but what have you been doing different as a program to prepare for the season?
Well, I think it's similar to a lot of schools. Once everything hit right after spring break, it was kind of a scramble to get things organized and figure out a way to still touch base and communicate with these kids day in and day out. And the Zoom meetings that we've been doing by positions and things of that nature, the PowerPoints that are sent out. It's truly an online football class. So we're trying to give them all the elements that we can give them, except for obviously the stuff that's most important is if they were here actually going through the reps and going through spring ball. We miss out on that, but everyone's in the same situation when it comes to that. So the Zoom meetings, the PowerPoints, just calling up and talking to the kids, texting them. It's we're trying to keep them front and center as much as we can as we go through this.
All right. Well, last season was a little tough for y'all, but what did you see last year that made you a little bit hopeful for this season?
Well, last season was a tough season, obviously. Having to endure that, but I was really proud of that group as a coaching staff. We couldn't have been prouder of those kids, especially that senior group that never gave up. They came to work every single day and played with pride, represented the school in a very positive light. So they're better men. They're going to be better men for going through our football program, and even for going through the season that they did. It taught them a lot of life lessons. And it's going to pay off for them down the road. And, going forward, we have a good group of kids that are coming through. And, you look at our numbers right now, we actually gained about a dozen kids from the end of the season to now, which usually doesn't happen. Usually you get your fair share that quit or go off and do other things. But we were able to get some extra kids in that regard. And then we just finished up our incoming freshman calls for next year. And, last season we had 90 freshmen at the start of the year. And we've already got 150 kids that are signed up to play next year as freshmen. And, of course, you may lose a few of those between now and August, but we're looking at a pretty big bump in our participation numbers.
All right. Well, looking at the district, obviously you have Katy and Tompkins in the top heavy. I mean, it's a top heavy district, but what games are you looking at? Do you kind of have circled on your calendar for district?
Well, really, honestly, every single one of them. It is a tough district. It is the only district in the state of Texas last year that had 4 teams win 9 games or more. So that right there tells you a little bit of what you go through on a weekly basis. And so to sit there and say you point to 1 or 2, I think that's not really the mindset we have. Each one is obviously independent of the other one, and they're all equally worth the same thing. That's how you have to look at it. So you got to go out each week and be prepared. And there's no easy weeks. Every team has good players. Every team is very well coached, and there's a lot of familiarity with those schools. So it's a tough district, but you have to embrace that, and our kids do, and that's all part of being a competitor.
All right, and last question. Football season might be a little different if there are no fans in the stands. How do you think that's going to affect, or band for that matter, how do you think that's going to affect the team?
Well, yeah, that's, I think all of us, there's a lot of speculation going on right now, and you hear a lot of different things, and obviously nothing's set in stone, and we gotta kind of wait and see what the governor says, and then the UIL, and then the school district. But to speculate and see and say, there won't be only a certain amount of fans involved or allowed at the game, that would be different. That would be something that would take a little getting used to if people had to be spread out like that. But I think when you think back to when you played and when I played and these kids now, once the play starts and you're on the field, a lot of times you kind of drown that part out anyway. So in terms of the players on the field, I think when the game is going on, there's probably less of a difference than you may think. But to the naked eye looking around, that could look different depending on what they come up with here.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for coming on and telling us.
All right, thanks for having me.
Now up, the Tompkins Falcons, the perennial power, now in 19-6A. Let's take a look at the highlights from last season's 11-2 Tompkins Falcons campaign.
Milrow looking for more. Now he's going to escape. He's under pressure. Breaks a tackle. Steps to another. Still on his feet at midfield. He's got the edge. And see you later. 57 yards. And that's a touchdown, Tompkins.
Another one right here. Starts out, ball's on the ground. And on the snap, it's picked up. Past the 20, 10, and he's in. Fumble return for a touchdown, 37 yards. No rope. Play action. Fires it in the end zone. He's looking for Munoz. And what a catch! Touchdown. Tompkins.
Now we got single back offset to Jalen's right. It is R.J. Smith. See you later. 7.
And there's the punt. Muhammad still on his feet. Muhammad inside the 10. Muhammad to the house. Touchdown.
Their side, R.J. Smith in the backfield. Milrow hands it off to R.J. Smith, running up the gut. Smith, spin move, and he'll take it into the end zone for the Tompkins touchdown.
19 from the 23. Milrow play fake, under heavy pressure, throws the screen left for Shoulders. Shoulders has blocking in front of him. He's got a first down and more. Look out for Marquise Shoulders. Shoulders down the sideline. Brooks to beat. He'll beat him. Touchdown, Tompkins. There are no flags.
Now, Milrow's looking to throw. He's going to throw it out here to the right side. That's Muhammad with the catch. Muhammad's going to get the first down, and he's up the sideline. 40, 30, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Falcons!
Trevor, Tompkins is a lot of fun, bringing back their third-year starting quarterback, Jalen Miller, third year as a starter. Of course, the Texas commit. What are you expecting from the 2020 Tompkins Falcons?
Well, I'm expecting even more improvement. You go from, well, let's start out in 2017. They went 0-9. Could only go up from there, and then they had their breakout year in 2018, going 10-3, losing to Westbrook and the 6A D2 playoffs. That was a really close game, a high-scoring game. The next year they go 11-2, again a third-round loss. They only lost to Katy, 5-point loss there, and then a loss to your alma mater, Gavin, the Atascocita Eagles, one of the highest-scoring teams in the entire state. And so Tompkins is a team on the rise. Like we've said, Jalen Miller coming back, 3-year starter, getting better and better. He's a dynamic quarterback through the air and on the ground, and they're going to be replacing their running back, R.J. Smith. He's gone to graduation. But Marquis Shoulders, one of the Tompkins games I called, they were playing Cinco, he had 3 touchdowns. Marquis Shoulders is a very dynamic back, and during my interview, or excuse me, I believe during your interview with Coach McVay, he's very high on Shoulders, I believe.
Gavin, what do you think about the 11-2 Tompkins Falcons? Their 2 losses came against really tough competitors in the Katy Tigers and the Atascocita Eagles. They were close in that Katy game, coming up short, just short in the end, 35-31. What do you see from this upcoming season?
Well, I think they can only go up from here. I know they went, as Trevor mentioned, 0-9 in 2017, 10-3 in 2018, 11-2 in 2019. I think this is the year that I think they have to make a run at state. I mean, Jalen Miller, he's coming back for his senior year. This is the last year that they have with him at quarterback. They're losing R.J. Smith, like Trevor said, at running back. Also losing Gabe Atkin to the tight end wide receiver position. And Tunmais, their defensive end, is transferring out to the IMG Academy in Florida, Ohio State commit. So they're losing some big-time names, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But I think if you have Milroe back and you coach up some of the guys that you have on your roster, some of the returning starters from last year, I think Coach McVay, who was the Houston Texans High School Coach of the Year last season, I think he can coach them up into a contending season.
And I had a chance to discuss those losses Gavin talked about, and of course his 3-year starting quarterback Jalen Miller, and much more with the Houston Texans head coach of the year, Todd McVay.
Sitting by Todd McVay of Katy Tompkins. Coach, how are you doing during this difficult time?
Doing well. Blessed, and just one day at a time right here.
How are you guys getting ready for the 2020 season? Of course, it's kind of unprecedented.
I think we're doing probably what everybody else is doing, the Zoom meetings and just trying to stay in contact with our kids. And hopefully they're doing the things that, we send out for workouts. Just trying to it's a day-to-day process and trying to keep them engaged. Obviously, they've got schoolwork going on, and they have the one thing that young people struggle with the most. They have time freedom, and that's a struggle. They all do better as we do as coaches and players. We're better when we have that regimented time. And we know fifth period is 11:08, and we got 7 minutes to get there, and it's a little bit different right now. So we're just hoping our leadership of our older kids is rubbing off on our young kids, and that's what we're putting our trust in right now.
You're losing some big-time studs on both sides of the ball, including R.J. Smith and Gabe Atkin, and defensively Tunmais. How will you combat those losses as we enter the 2020 season? As far as RJ, he's our leading rusher in school history, and Shoulders was behind him and got to learn a lot from him. So we expect Marquis to step up there at the running back spot. The defensive guys, we've got about 6 to 8 guys that, all played last year coming back on defense. So those guys they'll fill in as they go. I mean, that's probably going to be our most experienced guys right now. And, looking to replace our offensive line more than anything else right now, because those guys a lot of them were 3-year starters. So that's the process. And obviously spring ball was going to be a big part of that. So that's not happening. But like everybody else in the state, obviously, if the opportunity affords itself and we're able to start August 3rd, we'll get that extra week, extra scrimmage. But that's a ways away right now. So that's what I meant when I say one day at a time. We're not trying to predict the future, and we're just we have a saying at Tompkins, we just want to get 1% better each day. And if you do that, we're doing some good things.
Speaking of 3-year starters, one guy that is returning is your star quarterback, Jalen Miller. How have you seen him progress from his sophomore year to now his senior year?
I think Jalen's always physically been gifted. That's always been there for him. But I think what I've really watched or loved watching him grow mentally in the game at quarterback, and how he's become more cerebral in the game and understanding that 3-yard throw is a first down. His sophomore year was just trying to let him just flow in the offense now. And so, it's nice that he starts seeing things. It's like anything else. The more you play, the slower the game becomes. And so he's been able to see things differently. He understands the offense, obviously, very well. He executes it. And I think he's kind of getting, and it's funny, we're all watching The Last Dance, right? And we talk about Jordan. And I've called it the Jordan rule for years because, obviously I grew up with Jordan, but it was, what do you do to make everybody around you better? And that's what Jalen's, we have a saying, take the money. Because no doubt he can throw the bomb. That's not the problem. It's that 5-yard stop or out route now that he's really excelled understanding. That's an extended run play for us. Get him the ball, get a first down. And so now it's nice because he can look at it all, and he knows when to take his shots, knows when to pull it and go. And I think the thing that's becoming more and more about him in this offseason, we were fortunate enough to get our boot camp in, is that, he got to lead and without me having to say anything, I guess was the best point. And he did a good job of that. So, we're blessed. He's a great kid. I always say he's a better kid than he is a player, and he's a heck of a player. So looking forward to seeing him on the field.
When you look at this 19-6A district, it kind of came out kind of chalky. But the team to beat, of course, is Katy. You guys made it close last year, losing on a very close effort towards the end. Right. What do you guys need to do to get over that hump this year?
I think we don't really worry about anybody but the next game on the schedule. Obviously, they are they've won the district for the last quite a few years. I mean, since I've been back coaching. Well coached. We have great respect for them, and we've got to come out there and execute better. We fumbled the ball down the goal line. We have a punt return on us. That's them taking advantage of us, and we didn't do a good job of responding at that point. So, like anything else, you take all those experiences and you learn from them, and that's all we can do. And we look at that as a learning experience for our young kids to be in big games like that. And and that's what you strive for. You want to be in the big games. There's no, you go on those games and you just kind of go, you just got to go out there and execute to the best of your ability. And that's what we're all striving to do, because obviously when you play teams like Katy, they're going to take advantage of your miscues, just like we want to. We're going to take advantage of somebody fumbles it to us. But, we've just got to it's all about how you respond to those things. And last year, obviously, I think we responded after we did have some bad things happen. We responded well. They got more points than we did at the end, and we lost. And we played our tails off. I was proud of our efforts, but we didn't win. And I told our kids that. So we'll just continue to work as hard as we can and be the best team we can be, because we don't try to really worry about anybody else. It's going to be the next game on the schedule.
Kind of building off that, you guys lost round 3 to Atascocita. What do you guys need to do to get past that round and beyond, hopefully in Arlington?
I think, it goes back to the things that we talk to our kids about. It's funny, my first year, it was all about get to NRG. Now it's get out of NRG. And again, we were blessed to be there. We played a very good Atascocita. I mean, they were good. There's no doubt. Those receivers were really good. And we got behind a little early, and we had to play catch up. We played much better in the second half, but it was too little too late. So I think it's like anything else. It's, this is a very unique season coming up because we have a lot of new guys. And so I think that question will be answered as we go through the season. Like how we build, how we become better as a team, how our guys gel together. Because, we lost a bunch of 3-year starters, like 30 of them. And they'd been with me that first year. They went through the hard stuff. And, and a lot of these guys don't know what the 2017 team went through. They don't know 0-9. And so, but it's okay because now they've had success. So we just have to build it a different way that way, build off the success rather than what we didn't do. So it's just going to take a lot of consistent effort by the guys and coming back. You know, we've told them who comes back in the greatest shape because, you know, I mean, I told the coaches yesterday, hey, all of us need to be out in the heat of the day and working out and doing things right now too, because we don't need to be falling out at practice either. You know, because we run everywhere at practice too. So it's a combination of a lot of different things. And I mean, it makes for a heck of a year that's coming up. Hopefully, I'll let you know better at the end of the season for that question. How's that?
How, you know, building off that, I remember calling some of your games in 2017. You guys went through some tough times. You were 0-15 those first couple of years, I remember. How did you go from that to one of the top programs in the state?
A lot of work, a lot of buy-in from the players. You know, we pride ourselves, like most everybody does in the state of Texas, in being in the weight room, because the weight room to us is the great equalizer. You know, you can be 5'8" and play if you're strong. You can do it, but you got to be strong. And I think, you know, the buy-in from the kids. I always tell the story when I first got there, and we were it was right after we went 0-9, and we're getting ready for off season. I said, listen, everybody here at Tompkins is winning except one program, and you're it. So what do we want to do here? And I asked that question to him. Y'all want to do it our way? You want to keep doing it your way? And that wasn't a knock on anything. It was just, I asked the question. I said, what do you want to do? And they bought in, you know, and it's like anything else. You got to have buy-in and you got to have leadership. And our young kids that had gone through the process, they didn't like it. You know, because that last game of the year was a catalyst for us against Cinco. We're up 28-14 going in the fourth quarter. We're up 28-14 and we lose 35-28. And like I told them, I said, you know, we talk about level of training all the time. You've got to up your level of training. It's a Navy SEAL thing. You know, they come out here because they know when everything hits, they're going to fall, but they don't want to fall very far. And so we're always working on a level of training. The kids understand the terms and things that we use in our culture. And I think the difference now is, you know, my first year was me doing it. Second year was coaches, players. Third year was more of the players doing the leading. I didn't have to say a whole lot when they were getting on guys about not finishing a rep or something like that. And I think, you know, everything I've studied, and, you know, I'm too old to figure it out myself. I go study all the ones that do it right now and steal from them. And that's all I hear is, you know, when the players are leading the team, it's 1,000 times better. And we've got some great leadership. You know, Colby Hurt is coming back. Jalen, obviously the two guys on offense and defense that lead our team. They have high expectations of themselves, and they're going to hold everybody accountable to reach up to them. So I think that's, you know, just a combination of all that work. And I will say this about the 17 team. They laid the foundation for what we are right now. Those guys were great. They played as hard as they could. They really did. And, you know, we came out, we played hard every week. It was just a process we had to go through, and I love those kids because they were as we say at our place, it was the base of the foundation of our house, and now we're just trying to continue to build it.
Coach, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch you guys this year. Been a lot of fun to watch your development. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck this season.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Y'all be safe.
You too.
All right.
That now brings us to the Katy Taylor Mustangs, one of the surprises of the Texas high school football season last season, finishing fourth place in 19-6A, but making quite the run to the state semifinal coming up short against Austin Westlake. Let's take a look at the state semifinalists from 6A D2 last season.
Nope, they'll move him into the slot. Potts will be in the shotgun. Motion. Molina. Target Molina. Pass intercepted! Going back the other way! Trevor Woods. Molina trying to catch him. Can't get it. 100-yard interception return for Katy Taylor.
And the kick from Ethan Henry is up and away. Fielded at the 10-yard line by Taylor. Finding running room across the 40. Still going. One man to beat. It's the kicker. And he will outrun him down the sideline inside the 15. Juking man inside the 10-5. Touchdown, Mustangs.
It's that battle.
Absolutely.
Jensen's looking, doesn't see anybody open, finally does, over here to the right. And a shuttle, 10, 5, touchdown Taylor Mustangs!
They took a minute 58 to do it. And it was the 48-yard Mayde field goal, made it 10-0. Ball fielded inside the 5, ball's out. And still loose. And it will be recovered by the Taylor Mustangs for a touchdown. The Big Hogs for this Cougar attack. 2nd and 5. Guadia fake a give to Jimerson, throws left, picked off, and Trevor Woods. See you later.
Hands off left side to Shorter. Makes a move inside the 40, down to the 30. Down to the 20. Got one man to beat inside the 10. Dives. Touchdown, Shorter! His 3rd touchdown of the night.
And Trevor, we kind of touched on it. A very big surprise. 4th place, Katy Taylor. This just shows how deep this district is to see how far they went in 6A D2.
You know, Chase, I don't think anyone expected Katy Taylor to make the run that they did. Blowout losses to Tompkins and to Katy. They just squeak into the playoffs, and then they go on this magical playoff run. You defeat Humble. You defeat Cy Creek, making it all the way to Westlake. And Coach Dodge has built a great program there. Obviously, Westlake winning the state championship in 6A D2, so that's nothing to hang your head about. The farthest that Katy Taylor's ever made it in school history, and they were just dynamic near at the end. They were firing on all cylinders. They just knew what to do, and if they can get into that 6A D2 bracket, watch out.
Watch out. Watch out indeed. What did you see from the Katy Taylor Mustangs, Gavin?
I saw them week 1 last year. They played Atascocita at home. They lost 70-7, and I said, okay, Katy Taylor, they lose to Atascocita by about 63 points. That's not great. It was a bit of a tough game for them. And then I see them against Cy Creek in the playoffs at NRG, and I was like, who are these guys? I mean, they were returning picks for touchdowns, and we were there, and they just put on quite the show against the Cy Creek team. A lot of people think could have came out of that region and went to the state semifinals. And for Katy Taylor, they just kept knocking off the teams that people thought could come out of that region once Beaumont Westbrook lost to Strake Jesuit. They beat Humboldt, and they beat Cy Creek, and finally made it to the state semifinals. And I think it was, like Trevor said, a magical Cinderella run. And I think, nothing to hang their heads about last season. I think 2020, I think they can have a shot to only get better.
Gavin, we had a chance to discuss with Chad Simmons, Katy Taylor head coach. You led that interview. What did you see from Coach Simmons?
Well, I think he was optimistic about this coming season, and he reflected on last season. It was a good season for the Mustangs, and like I said, nowhere to go but up, and I think Coach Simmons feels the same. Let's check it out.
Standing by now with Katy Taylor head coach Chad Simmons. Coach, how have you been keeping your players in shape both physically and mentally during these tough times?
Well, we've, like most everybody else, adopted what, is being called the new normal, where we're doing a lot of Zoom meetings, posting things on a district site that we can basically record, any of the Zoom meetings and things we want to make sure they keep current with on and we can download that to the or upload that to the district site. And we've been sending out workouts for them, and again posting to that same basic thing as far as things they can do if they have weights to work with, things they can do without weight. So we have an alternative for, body weight type exercises and, some speed agility work. And so we're trying to keep them current on, having meetings and staying in touch and then making that available to them every week.
Coach, what guys do you have returning in 2020 that you feel like can make an impact for your team?
Well, we have a case for 7 or 8 kids on each side of the ball back that either started or played quite a bit from, a semifinal team that was really pretty young. And we've got offensively, we've got 2 really good, really more than 2, but the 2 that I guess everybody kind of knows about, Hayden Connor and Bryce Foster back, Abo Kesey back at center. We've got Nolan Hay, who played quite a bit toward the end of the year in the playoff run on the offensive line. Jay Jensen back at quarterback, did a great job operating our offense, and Casey Shorter at running back. We've got a returning kid that played some as a freshman, Keaton Kubeka, is back as a sophomore as a receiver. So those are the guys that we had offensively that we think will make a big impact, and they're not by no means the only ones, but those are the kids that you can say they either started or played extensively in 2019. Defensively, we've got literally bookends at our defensive ends. They're identical twins.
Oh wow!
Marcus and Jordan Daniels, and Marcus ended up starting, played most of the season there, and then his brother stepped in toward the end of the season and did a great job at defensive end. Got B.J. Bronson, defensive tackle. We've got Cortez at defensive tackle, who played quite a bit there. We've got Ahmed Thomas at linebacker. We have Nick Getty, who's stepping up from ended up playing some on the varsity toward the end, but was played on our JV. Is a really good linebacker, athletic kid. The secondary, little less experienced back, but Trevor Woods, who had a unbelievable junior year at our strong safety position, will be a senior, and then Cecil Ivey played a good bit at corner and safety for us, was a starter. Is going to be a really good player for us. Hollis Robinson is another kid who played in the secondary that probably is going to be a safety for us and played mostly corner last year. So we got quite a few of them back.
Coach, you're returning your starting quarterback in 2020. As you mentioned, Jay Jensen III had a fantastic year last year. How do you and your staff been continuing his development since last season?
I'm sorry, what's the last part of that again?
How have you guys been continuing his development?
Obviously we missed spring football, and being a coach's son, I think that helps a little too, where he is actually out there still working on some things. And most of our kids are doing that. But as far as quarterback, like you said, to continue to develop is important. And the mental aspect of the game, and meetings with position coaches, and everything we can possibly do to continue to have him make progress and continue to learn our system, which again he did a fantastic job with this past season.
Coach, your team last year went on a fantastic run that culminated in a berth in the state semifinals. So what has to happen in 2020 to replicate that success as a team?
I think it's one thing is build on that success, and the expectations have been raised, and to really understand and see that you don't ever just sit still. You're sliding backwards to some extent, or moving forward to continue to see what enabled us in the off season and through the season to reach that, to accomplish that, and keep doing those same things, to taking care of the details and just work, and really good team chemistry. So that part is kind of in place, and guys, you can just tell they enjoy each other, which is important. That part is in place, and continuing to just build on what we started.
All right, Coach, final question. Your district, more or less the same that it's been the last couple of years. How do you feel like this year you guys fare with the other Katy ISD schools?
The last, 2 or 3 years, and this past year, and I don't think 2020 is any different, it's been very competitive top to bottom. There's, it's I think more even, and more than it's been in that regard in the last 2 or 3 years. So it's every week is there's just about everybody's in contention to get in, and it's a strong district. So you got to be ready every single week to play your best.
All right, Coach, thank you. Best of luck in 2020.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That now brings us to the Goliath of 19-6A, the Katy Tigers. Let's take a look at their highlights from their 12-1 campaign.
Gone by first quarter, opening possession on the rollout right. McClellan fires a deep ball, caught by Jordan Patrick at the 50. He'll break away from the pack at the 30. 25-20, 15-10-5, touchdown. No, he's just going to run it himself. 35 to the outside, Bronson McClellan, touchdown. They begin from their own 35. McClellan throws. He's got a wide open Jordan Patrick, catches it over his shoulder in stride. Touchdown, Tiger. Certainly not ready to try to give up another Punt return for a touchdown. But from the 28-yard line, this is Bobby Taylor. Bobby Taylor to the far side. Still on his feet. He's got blockers. Bobby Taylor could go. Touchdown, Katy.
Fielded from inside the 15. Massey finds a seam. Look out. Upton Stout has no chance. Touchdown, no flags. Craven slings it. Intercepted by Massey. On the return, Massey to the 15, cuts inside, he'll score! Touchdown! 57 yards and a touchdown last week for the junior against Morton Ranch. Bernard on play action, 3rd and long, throws wide open, making the catch for the touchdown. 2 receivers deployed, 1st and 10. Handoff straight ahead, Jalen Davis into the secondary. Forget about it, they're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Katy!
Now, Trevor, it's your alma mater, the Big Red Machine, the Katy Tigers. What did you see from the 2019 season?
Well, I think the same thing that everyone sees every year, another great district record, finishing undefeated in district, and another undefeated regular season. But they fell to kind of the thorn on their side, and that's been the Galena Park North Shore Mustangs. They played them 6 times in the past 4 years, going 2-4 in those contests, and it's just something they can't get past. And one thing about last year was actually the first year that a senior class from Katy did not at least make a state title appearance since Mike Johnston back in the 90s. And I think Coach Joseph is prepared his team well again. You know they're going to be a tough team in Region 3. Now, one thing that could happen to them is if Seven Lakes makes the playoffs, they could go into that Region 2 bracket, which who knows what happens there. Mm-hmm. But whether they go Region 1 or Region 2, Katy will be a tough team. They're going to do the same thing they always do, which is run the ball and play great defense. I know it's cliche, but when you have 7 state titles in the past 30 years, something's been working.
And, of course, they're going to have a new running back as they pound the rock, as you said, with Pearland transfer, Brandon Campbell.
And Brandon Campbell comes in. He was a stud for the Pearland Oilers in the last couple of years. We saw him a little bit last year here on Texan Live. He announced some of his games. He was, he's fast. He can use the power that he has. And they also bring back quarterback Bronson McClelland, who had an impressive year last year. He's the clear-cut leader of their team. And I think with that combination in the backfield of McClelland and Campbell, I think they have a shot to perhaps get over that hump that is North Shore in the coming year in 2020.
And Trevor, you had a chance to discuss with Gary Joseph getting over that hump against Galena Park North Shore. They faced them 6 times in the past 4 years. What did you see from this interview we're about to see with head coach Gary Joseph?
Well, Coach Joseph, he knows what North Shore is all about. North Shore knows what Katy's about, and they've shown they can beat them. I think back to 2017, they won 38-3 in the Region 3 finals. And I think Katy, this could be the year they could get over them. It's going to be tough. North Shore's obviously got some great players back, but so does Katy. Bronson McClelland, like Gavin said, he's the leader of that team. They're going to have to replace some big players. One of the ones I can think of is their receiver, Jordan Patrick. He's lost to graduation, but Katy's going to do what they've done. They've been to 4 state title games in the past 10 years. They've won 2 of them. One of the premier programs in Texas high school football history, and Coach Joseph, he'll have them ready. Got to talk with him earlier today, and let's take a look at that interview.
Well, we are here with Katy Tigers head football coach Gary Joseph. And Coach, what have y'all been doing during these much different troubling times during the coronavirus? What have y'all been doing different to prepare?
It's been quite different. Like I said earlier, it's one of those things that, our kid coaches have been meeting virtually with our kids, and it's been up to our kids to sit there and respond. You never know how they're going to respond. I think our kids understand what it's going to take to have a winning season, and them sitting at home the whole time playing video games isn't going to help them very much and stuff and things. So they understand that they have to be out, and what we've done in the past, and you're never going to work out with the intensity you would when you have your coaches there or anything, but just them getting out and doing something and getting out and running and being and doing something physical has got to help him.
All right, and you have the new running back Brandon Campbell coming in from Pearland, and you said you haven't seen much of him, but do you think he's got a shot to make the team?
No, I think he's got a chance to make the team. I mean, he's a senior coming in. He was guaranteed nothing except for an opportunity when I talked to him. And, the kid's going to be stepping up to a challenge. He's going to be challenged. But, he was a good running back, from the school he's coming from and things, from what I've been told and things. And obviously he's got a lot of upside to him. But like I said, he's got to be able to fit in the dressing room and fit in with our kids and be a part of our kids and be a part of what we're doing. He's going to do that by working every day, and I'm looking forward to watching him. I'm looking forward to see his growth. Obviously he's got a bright future in front of him. But, right now we're concerned about what he's going to do at Katy High School.
McClellan, he's coming back. He's only lost 3 games in his career. What do you expect from him this upcoming year?
I expected him to have a really great season and things. I think that maturity and things and being able to be a more mature quarterback that understands situations and understands that right now the most important thing are the stats that's behind him, and understanding that, we have to be able to win, being a winning quarterback. You pointed out he's got very few losses in his career. Well, that's what you want in a quarterback. You don't want him to be able to lead your team to wins, whatever it takes, and that's what we've always done around here. We'll do what it takes to sit there. What's necessary to sit there and give our kids a chance to be winners.
All right, Coach. Well, next year's district, Tompkins seems like a pretty tough team. Y'all played them down to the wire last year. Are they going to be y'all's biggest challenge in district? Y'all really haven't had them in the past as long as you've been coached there.
Well, they were a challenge last year, and they were a challenge every year. They've had 2 really, really fine years. I expect nothing less from them this coming year. And of course, Katy Taylor, had the opportunity to go to the state semifinals and Division II and things. So obviously they've got a good program, good things going. But there are a lot of teams in the Katy district feel like they'll be improved this year, and there'll be a good race and things. But the biggest thing I'm concerned about is Katy, and concerned about our kids, and we, our non-district schedule, as the way it's set up, is we're going to have our hands full doing that and stuff. If we start worrying about Tompkins or worrying about district or worrying about that, and it says we're slighting our opponent, and our deal is always play it, the next man up, the next game up and stuff, the next person on the schedule.
All right, Coach. Well, final question. It's about North Shore. Y'all played them 6 times in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
You expecting them in the playoffs?
If we get there, I certainly think they'll be there and things, but, we have to get there. The road we went through last year was pretty tough. You have to go through an undefeated Cy-Fair team and a real fine Ridge Point team and stuff, but, if we get there, then we're going to line up and we're going to go toe-to-toe with them and things. And I feel like our kids aren't going to back down, and that's the important thing. But, like I've told our kids, they're not the next person on our schedule. They're what you're ultimately going to have to win. It's like for a long time, to get to the championship, we went through Katy. Right now, to get to the championship, you got to go through North Shore. And, but, like I said, we have a long ways to go to get there. But, we're looking forward to the challenge.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
We now go to the 7 Lakes Spartans. Let's take a look at their highlights from the 2019 season.
One to the left, one to the right. Cuts across the right side. Wide open hole at the 40, 30. No one to beat him. 10, 5, touchdown, gone.
Rose Stadium, and they begin with a handoff. Milton Jones loosely carries the football, then he breaks away from the pack into Tompkins territory, and he will gallop down the right hash mark to the end zone for the touchdown.
Left, throwing deep left side. Johnson again. Complete. Touchdown, Spartans. Johnson on the touchdown. 9-yard line, 1st and goal for the Spartans. Beltran hands off to Jones. Cuts up the middle. Inside, touchdown. Got him.
Beltran with Jones behind him. Fake is to Jones. The throw right down the middle. Great play called. Touchdown, Spartans. Cole Gatt.
Melton across the 40, 45, 50. He's gone. There's nobody catching that young man. To the house. Done. Deal. Melton across the 40.
Drops back, still looking, throwing way deep left over the middle. Completed to Johnson. Cuts across the 20, 25, 10, 5, gone. Touchdown. Spartans. In motion. Drops back, Beltran looking, rolling to his left, throwing over the middle. Got him, touchdown!
Okay, Trevor, what did you see from the Seven Lakes last season?
A little bit of a step back. They made the playoffs in 2018. This past year in 2019, going 4-6 overall, 1-5 in district. Not quite what they were expecting coming into the year, but they're a team that they could possibly make a run at that final playoff spot this upcoming year. They're going to be bringing back a lot of good talent, and Seven Lakes Spartans, they got a shot.
Gavin, what do you think?
I agree with Trevor completely when he says they can compete for one of those, maybe the 3 or the 4 spot in that district. I think Seven Lakes is they're a talented team. They're bringing back their running back Nick David West, who returns to lead that offense in the backfield, and I think they have a shot to maybe make a playoff run this coming year.
And you kind of discussed that with Seven Lakes head coach Jimmy Hammond. What are we about to see?
You're about to see a guy that's fired up about his program, and he has no lack of faith about his Spartans.
Let's take a look at that interview Gavin Moritz did earlier today.
Standing by now with Seven Lakes head coach Jimmy Hammond. Coach, how have you guys been keeping your players in check during these trying times?
Oh, that's a great question. I think right now we're probably just like everybody else, and we're sending our guys their at-home workouts. We use a program at our school called Canvas. We're able to put our workouts on their online learning platform just like they would at school. So we've been able to put our stuff on Canvas. We have them submit videos. We've used Zoom just like we're using right now to do workouts, to have meetings. We've been able to talk football with them right now, but as far as keeping them in shape, we're just kind of dependent on them to get their workouts, kind of in on their own as it goes right now.
And Coach, what returning players do you feel like will make a solid impact for your squad in 2020?
So we have 2 running backs coming back that are both 2-year lettermen. This will be their 3rd year on the varsity. Milton Jones, he wore number 27 last year, as well as Nick David West. He wears number 5. So we have 2 good running backs that are coming back on offense. We expect big things from. Also on the offense side of the ball, we play 2 quarterbacks. Christian Beltran, number 12, and he'll be a senior, and Scott Stanford is going to be a junior. Both of them saw reps at quarterback this year. And then still on the offensive side of the ball, our left tackle, Sam Treadaway, wears number 78. He started for us, as well as we're not sure where we're going to play him right now. We're going to play him at guard or center, but another one of our younger guys named DJ Nekbatal that is going to play either center or guard right now. Obviously not having spring ball hurt us a little bit of evaluating exactly if we want him at center or guard right now. But on offense, those are the guys we have coming back that we're expecting big things out of. On defense, we lost all 3 of our defensive linemen this year, and we lost all but one of our linebackers. We have Adam North coming back at linebacker. And then in the secondary, we played a variety of guys in the secondary, but the guys that come to mind right now are Logan Johnson, Juan Jimenez, and Emilio Ramos. Those will be the guys that we're counting on that had a lot of reps back there in the secondary. None of right now, is really open in the secondary, and we'll see who comes through for us.
Coach, your program last made the postseason in 2018. So in 2020, what needs to happen to get back to that contention form?
Well, I think a couple things need to happen. Last year, the injury bug hit us, and so we're going to need to keep our guys healthy. My first year was 2018, and one thing that we were able to do in 2018 is have a returning starter coming back for us at quarterback, and so that was really nice. Where we had to in 2019, we didn't have that scenario. This year in 2020, it kind of feels like 2018. We got 2 guys we feel like can play that position, so that feels pretty good. I think we're going to need to be able to run the ball on offense. And this year we're going to, last year we struggled defending the pass a little bit, so I think we need to do a little bit better defending the pass. I think if we do those things and stay healthy, we got a very good chance to make a postseason run.
You're back now once again in the same district with the other Katy ISD schools. So how do you feel like your squad this year matches up with those other schools like Katy and Tompkins and the other programs?
I mean, I think Tompkins is hot right now. They're a school that's high on a lot of people's radar. They got a lot of big time recruits coming back and a lot of returning lettermen coming back. So they're going to be a team to try to beat. You also have, Katy High School, of course, is kind of the bell cow of our district and is good year in and year out. So both of those are going to be very, very solid teams that we're going to have to get through. And Taylor made a deep run last year. So, you got those three teams kind of leading the pack, if you will, in our district. And I think, you have between us, Cinco Ranch, Morton Ranch, and Mayde Creek, we're all kind of fighting right there. I'm not giving any spots away right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying who I think is going to make the playoffs right now, but I think we have our work cut out for us in 19-6A. But I think we have all of the pieces that we need in order to be ready to make another postseason run.
All right, final question. With all the coronavirus and the pandemic going on, how optimistic are you that we'll have football to play come August?
That's a tough one. I guess if you're asking my personal opinion, I'm optimistic that we'll be able to play football this fall. I don't, obviously, as you know, and any of the other guys in my seats, they know we don't have the answers right now. We're waiting on a lot of guidance from the governor. We're waiting on guidance from the UIL, and of course, we're waiting on guidance from Katy ISD. But right now, I don't have a choice but to be optimistic because I think we lost out on so much of the spring sports, and I would hate to let myself think that we're not going to have those in the fall. I think so much of the culture of your school is built around those fall sports when you start the school year, and I know a lot of the student athletes really look forward to that, and it brings that positive climate and culture. So for those reasons, I'm optimistic. But if you read some of the things that you've been reading right now about how school could start in August, I mean, that kind of gets you down a little bit. But I'm trying to be optimistic right now, really hoping that we'll be able to have football in all of our fall sports. And so, that's kind of a loaded question, but that's the best way I know how to answer it right now.
Coach, I know all of us at the Texan Live team, we're excited to see the Spartans in 2020, and thank you and best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
That now brings us to the pleasant surprise of 19-6A, the Mayde Creek Rams. Let's take a look at their fun 2019 season.
3 to the left, no to the right. Jones in at quarterback. Hands off right side, no. Quarterback keeper up the left. Breaks a move at the corner. Down to the 40, 50, 40, 25. 10, 5, gone, one play, touchdown, Jones. Snaps it. Hands off right side to Zurich. Cuts across the 40, picks up the first and more, down to the 45, 30, 25, 10, 5, tackled, no, end zone, gone, touchdown, Mayde Creek Rams. The left. Throws left side, complete, cuts across the 5, breaks a move, gone, touchdown, Jones. As Mayde Creek strikes first blood in the red zone, hands off, quarterback keeper up to Jones, cuts across the 10, down to the 5, end zone, touchdown, Rams! Rams have come back! Jones on the quarterback keeper! Pressure big time. Hands off right side, want to move, open at the 40, 45, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Blue Ridge! This game is sealed!
From the 49-yard line of Katy Mayde Creek. Bit of trickery? No. Delayed draw. It's Low Ridge to the right side. Breaking loose. 40, 30, 20, 10. Goodbye, Julius. Touchdown, Katy Mayde Creek. 51 yards to the house.
Trevor, we kind of talked about it earlier. They used to struggle in this district quite a bit. Now, they're one of the most fun teams to watch.
They are, Chase, and I got to catch one of their games, called it, at Legacy. They played Fort Bend Austin week 3, and that was a closer game than I think than most people expected, but they gutted out a win. They won that one 24-21. A couple of their wins in district, the one I can think of is against Katy Taylor. Very close game in overtime. But Mayde Creek was a good team. And Julius Lowridge, their running back, I think we know by Jason Metgo's touchdown call of goodbye Julius.
Yep.
He's a good running back, and they are going to be a team that will be in the mix again for that 3rd or 4th spot. I think that a lot of this district is. And Mayde Creek, not used to this kind of spotlight, but again, a pleasant surprise, and look out for the Rams.
And Gavin, what did you see from Mayde Creek last season?
Well, they impressed me quite a bit. I mean, they used to, like Trevor said, they used to not compete as well in the district as some of the other teams did. Now, like you said, they're one of the most fun teams to watch. Julius Lowridge was incredible to watch last season when I saw him in 2 different games. Their first playoff berth since 2008 last season, and they're bringing back their quarterback Dante Jones, who last time split some time with John Zalacha in the backfield, taking the snaps under center, but I think Dante Jones is ready to lead the Rams in 2020.
Trevor, you had a chance to catch up with new head coach from the Mayde Creek Rams, Brian Randall. What are we expecting from this interview with Coach Randall?
Well, first of all, Coach Randall had to have a little bit of an adjustment he came in about a week before the whole pandemic situation, and so it took a little bit of getting used to, but he's ready for his Rams team. Mayde Creek's going to be tough. He likes what he's seen from both Jones and Lowridge, and he is ready for the football season to start. Let's take a look at my interview with Coach Randall.
We are here with Coach Brian Randall of the Mayde Creek Rams. And Coach, how are you holding up during the whole pandemic?
Not bad. Learning technology. That's for one thing. I mean, learn how to Zoom. I'm an old head, so I'm kind of old fashioned, but I got some young guys around here helping me out. So just figure it out.
All right. Well, Coach, the Rams had a big year last year, went 9-3. And so obviously, your first year as a head coach, so what different expectations than Mayde Creek normally has. So what are you doing to kind of prepare for the upcoming season with those expectations?
Well, they did some real great things this year. They had a unique season. They had a great senior class. The one thing we do have coming back, we have a good nucleus of kids coming back. So the biggest thing was just getting here. And I was only here 10 days before the whole thing, the pandemic thing jumped off. So it made it a little difficult, but just reaching out to those kids and those parents and staying in contact and trying to make sure we don't lose anybody.
All right. Well, you have your star running back, Julius Lowridge, coming back. He had a big year last year. And so what do you really expect for him next season, and what is he doing to prepare in the offseason?
Oh, man, like that kid's huge. He's an outstanding young man. His dad's a great guy. Like they're military people. So that kind of gives you an idea of what they're cut from. But Julius is just an outstanding human being, good kid, extremely hard worker. He's been working hard during this whole pandemic. I mean, him and a couple of guys, they get together in the park and just really still trying not to miss a beat, because they have, they're goal oriented, so that was the biggest thing, is trying to get them out there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right, Coach. Well, who, for underclassmen, the juniors coming up, who do we need to really look out for the upcoming season?
Dante Jones, the quarterback, Dante Jones, he was huge. He was a real reason why they had a lot of success. You had Dante, Julius, Eldon, Skinner, and Kenyatt. Like, those are our big four. Kenyatt plays safety, and he really gets out there. He's a little undersized, but that kid will stroke you. Like, he'll really put a hat on you.
All right, and final question. You got a tough district in 19-6A. Obviously, Katy and Tompkins are the class of the district, and y'all fit nicely into that third spot last year. So what game do you have circled for district, and what do you expect from that?
The Big Red Machine is the Big Red Machine. They're just that. They're a machine. You got to think, Katy Taylor's got a lot coming back. Their entire group is coming back. So you have to respect them as well. And I'm one of those guys that we're going to respect everybody we play. So we just want to make sure that we take care of our business and we execute and put kids in position to be successful. And hopefully the ball bounces our way a couple of times and we'll be fine.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck, and thanks for coming on.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too.
That now brings us to the Morton Ranch Mavericks. Let's take a look at their 2019 campaign.
Nope, they're going to bootleg out. Gayton's open down the sideline. If they can get him the ball, oh, he hung on. There he goes. He's across the 15 to the 10. 5, touchdown, Mavericks.
pistol formation for Wilson. The receivers left, one to the right, pistol set. Wilson wants to throw. Wilson launches it deep downfield. The catch is made by Josh Gatone. Shoulder. 3rd and 4 from the 30. Stealing under pressure, throws downfield, and it's picked off, intercepted. Coming back the other way is Dylan Ford. Ford to the 40, blockers in front to the 50. Near sideline to the 35, cuts to his right to the 20, to the 10, 5, and into the end zone. Interception return for the score by Dylan
Far left, one near right. Shotgun, Wilson's looking. Hit his man right at the 20.
He's got a 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Mavericks!
37-yard line. Wilson looking, firing it up. He's got a man open. And did he catch that? He caught it! Touchdown!
Trevor, I'll start with you. What did you see from the 2019 Morton Ranch Mavericks?
Well, I saw a lot of spectacular catches by Josh Gatton. I'm thinking the game-winning catch in Week 1, which ended up being our play of the year here on Texan Live, and then I'm thinking another top 10 play. I believe it became the number 10 play of the year. Another catch by Gatton. I was on the call for that one against Tompkins in between two defenders. They didn't get the win, but still a spectacular catch. And Morton Ranch was a fun team last year. They just missed out on that final playoff spot. Came down to the last game of the season against Mayde Creek. Couldn't quite get there, but Morton Ranch is a really good team. They're a fun team, and they're going to be competing as well. They are just a team that they got better, I believe, as the season went on. And again, Jeff's missed out on that playoff spot. They're trying to get back into the playoffs, and they got a good shot this upcoming year.
Gavin, what did you see from the 2019 Mavericks?
A lot of spectacular plays, like Trevor said. But they went 5-5 in 2019, 2-4 in district, but still just missed out on the playoffs. They were right there at the 500 mark. And even in the point differentials, the points scored and the points allowed, they had 228 points for and 222 in points allowed. So pretty close there. So a very 500 season for the Morton Ranch Mavericks. I think if they replace Josh Gatton and keep that offensive firepower going and rolling like they had last year, I think they can perhaps get over that hump and sneak into the playoffs.
Well, I had a chance to discuss those matters with head coach for the Morton Ranch Mavericks, Ron Counter. Talked about Josh Gatton and talked about those close games that they came up just short in last season, trying to convert those into wins. Take a look. We save the best for last, and we bring on Morton Ranch. We bring on Morton Ranch head coach Ron Counter. Coach Counter, how are you guys doing and during this entire difficult time?
We're doing okay. You know, it's been difficult, and but the assistant coaches have been doing a great job. The coordinators have been doing a great job of staying in touch with the kids and sending them workouts and having Zoom meetings. But we're ready to get back to normal or some kind of normal. That's for sure.
When do you guys think you will get back to normal?
Well, I just watched that governor's press conference, and I'm hoping, here in June that we'll get to start having strength and conditioning camp where we got our meeting with Debbie Decker tomorrow morning, which hopefully we'll have some answers tomorrow.
Now let's dig into your team here. You're losing star wide receiver Josh Gatton. How are you combating that loss here in the 2020 season?
Josh would be hard to replace. He had tremendous hands, but we got a couple other guys we think are going to step up. We've got a young man named Jermichael Johnson that moved in from one of the Cy-Fair schools a year or two ago, and we're expecting big things from him. Jalen Davis, we got some other receivers too, so we think we'll be okay there.
And who are some of the other underclassmen that you guys have coming up that you're really excited about here in the upcoming years?
Well, we think we got a real good senior class. Underclassmen, you said?
Yes, underclassmen, and then, of course, the senior class coming up.
Yeah, our underclassmen, our sophomore class is going to be very good. We had a good freshman team last year. So this last year, we only had a few sophomores on the varsity, I believe 3 or 4, and most of those guys did not start. But we will have maybe as high as 10 sophomores on the varsity next year, and 3, 4, 5 of them will probably start the season as starters.
We were looking at you guys. We covered you guys all year last year, and you guys were in a lot of close games. Can you guys combat those? Can I redo that? We'll redo that question. Is that all right? You guys were in a lot of close games last year. How can you convert some of those close losses into more victories this upcoming season?
Yeah, we're very close on a couple games off the top of my head. I remember the Taylor game went into overtime, that first district game, and so that was a big loss for us because we definitely had a chance to win that one. But we know how competitive the district is and is going to be again next year. So we're close. We really thought last year we had a great chance to be a playoff team, and I actually told people I thought Mayde Creek was going to be, much improved last year before the season, and I don't think a lot of people believed me or thought I was right. And then they got 2 move-ins that really helped them. So they had a great year last year. So we're hoping that maybe this year is our year. But we were close last year, and we've got a real good senior class. One thing that we have that we haven't had in the 3 years I've been at Morton Ranch is we've got a returning quarterback that's very good, J. Marcus Wilson. And so that's the first time since I've been there that we've had a returning quarterback that, we think is a great leader. And we're looking for big things from J. Marcus for next year.
How have you seen him progress to this point, Wilson?
Well, he played some quarterback as a freshman, but as a sophomore, he started on the varsity as a defensive back, as a cornerback. And we really kind of thought he'd be the quarterback his senior year, and then ended up, after 3 or 4, or I guess 2 or 3 games last year, go ahead and making that switch and moving to quarterback. And I probably should have done that earlier. But he had 6, 7, 8 good games last year. So we really think he's going to be really good. We're going to miss some guys. Obviously Brandon Brown was the best defensive player in the district and ended up getting the AP Defensive Player of the Year for the state of Texas. So you can't replace Brandon or Dylan Ford in the back end. At safety was very good for us. Justice Guillory in the offensive line. But like I said, we feel like we got a good team coming back, and especially those, we're going to be young though. Those freshmen that are going to be sophomores, we're going to throw them to the fire a little bit. But a couple of those guys, we think, even have the possibility of being D1 athletes in a couple of years. So we think if everything goes right, and we can stay, injury free because we don't have that much depth. We can be in the mix, hopefully, for one of those playoff spots.
Right on, Coach. And the last question we've asked every single coach, I kind of feel better about it now. Are you optimistic about a 2020 season? But, of course, the news from Greg Abbott, it's very encouraging.
Oh, I've always been, and this is just what I've been telling people, that I hope things get better before August. But I just think when we come back to school in the fall and football, high school, college, and pro football gets going, I really think that's gonna be when everybody says, okay, everything's okay. School's back in session, kids are back in school. We see the yellow buses out, and football on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. I think that's hopefully it happens before then, but at the very latest, I think that's when the economy is going to improve tremendously, and everybody's going to feel so much better about themselves and the country.
You're getting me fired up. Football cures all. Coach, we thank you very much for joining us, and good luck this upcoming season.
Okay. Thank you, guys, and thank you for everything you guys do.
No problem. Thank you. All right, that'll do it for this week's edition of TexanLive.com's web show. Talking about 19-6A. Trevor, any final thoughts?
Well, I believe it's going to be, if you look at the 1 and 2 spots in the district, it's going to be Katy and Tompkins, and then the rest of the district's just going to be a dogfight. Can't really say who's going to win there. Usually is that way. There's always a 1 and a 2, and then everyone else is just fighting for that 3 and 4 spot, so it should be fun over in Katy.
Gavin, get the last word.
Well, Trevor kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, Katy's going to contend for that top spot. Tompkins is going to contend with them for that top spot. I think after that's going to be a dogfight for the 3 and the 4 spots. 7 Lakes, Mayde Creek, Morton Ranch, all those other schools are going to compete, and I think it'll be a dogfight in a gritty, tough district, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch in 2020.
Well, if you want to watch that 19-6A tough district, stay here on TexanLive.com for the 2020 season. We can't wait to get back to work with more sports. That'll do it for the TexanLive.com's 19-6A preview. Signing off for myself, my partners Trevor Bullard and Gavin Moritz. I'm Chase Snyder saying so long from the TexanLive.com studios in Humble. Stay safe.